Welcome, traders and investors. Okay, so the fear is getting real here. Fear of missing out. All right, so those of you who have been following me know that I have been calling for a pullback here soon. Well, are we going to get that pullback? Every time I say pullback, it seems like the market spikes even further up. So I want to cover what is happening here on the market and give some suggestions. This is not advice. This is just what the charts are showing me at this point. And there is a little bit of uncertainty. I'm just going to be honest about that. I don't know for sure. You can never know anything for sure. But I'm just going to cover what the probabilities suggest on these charts. And yes, it still does, in my opinion, show pullback. This is our Ethereum chart. We'll get to that in just a minute. First, I want to start, as we usually do on these weekly updates, with the good old US dollar. Okay, so yesterday, you all know that I did make a post and I said, look, we're on support now. We are going to bounce. This was my expectation. We are going to bounce, and that suggests the market is going to pull back. All right, so where does this support come from? Well, you guys can see here, I have a head and shoulders pattern drawn for the US dollar. Now, that's a very ominous pattern, because if that neckline breaks, it's bye-bye US dollar. And of course, we know that there are big nation states out there that are already planning to get off the US petrodollar and stop depending on the dollar. And then there's the fact that we are fighting inflation and our US banks are collapsing, etc., etc. All right, so this line in the sand here is very serious. And once that neckline breaks, and I say once because it will, in my opinion, the way this U.S. administration is doing things, it will break. All right. But to see where that actually comes from, that's actually a longer term macro downtrend. And I'm going to zoom out to the weekly here and show you actually where that is coming from. All right. So if I zoom way out here, you can see that that line has been touched in 2002, way back in 2002 and 2001. And then we had a big pivot here back in 1984, believe it or not, and a big drop below in 1985. All right. We have remained under this trend line until recently, since 1985. All right. So for nearly, really nearly 30 years, 27 years. And then we just broke above that in April of last year. All right. Broke above that with these tremendous, unprecedented rate hikes. All right, this is where we formed our head and shoulders pattern. And now I do expect the Fed to pause and pivot sometime this year. We've already heard news headlines about them pausing on the next rate hike, which I believe is June. Don't quote me on that. But that's what is kind of propelling this market at this point. That news that the Fed is planning to pause. All right, so watch this chart closely. This is everything, guys. The US dollar controls everything. Now, what I want to see next is, does this supposition that the dollar is going to bounce, and you can see my arrow up, does this correlate with data that I'm viewing in the stock markets? Of course, what I'm tracking for the stock markets is the US 500. These charts all pretty much align with each other. And you can see right now, today, we are up into that macro uptrend line once again. Now, could we break above it? Yes, of course. We broke above it before over here and then came back down. Now, after we came back below that macro uptrend line, my supposition, my thesis was that we were going to come down, tag our macro downtrend line, which we did. We're going to go up and hit our heads against this macro uptrend line, which we are doing right now. And then my analysis is that we continue kind of this sideways, only forming a megaphone pattern, if you will, until we finally reach our top, which I expect this blow off top to reach 5,500, maybe even 6,000 before we finally collapse. All right. So right now, because we are up into resistance here and the dollar is on support here, I still am expecting a pullback. All right. I'm expecting a pullback in the broader or the US stock markets. All right. So what's crypto telling us? Let's jump to crypto right now and see what crypto is doing. We're going to start with BTC, USD, good old Bitcoin. All right. So Bitcoin has surprised me. And again, this could be, our final target on this cup and handle pattern. You see the pink curves, that is a cup and handle pattern. My final target here is around 40,000. I've said that all along. What I have been expecting, and you can see outlined or signified by the red arrows, is a pullback, a retest of our neckline at that cup and handle pattern before we continue or proceed on to that target. Now, that doesn't always happen on technicals, but probability suggests that it does happen or it does occur in most cases. All right. We like to come back and retest those major support areas or resistance areas. And many of you who have been following me for some time know I call this kissing mama goodbye. We don't like to say goodbye, or we don't just like to take off without coming back to give mama a good kiss and a hug before we ascend to the stars. And so I still do expect that. Yes, our candle today is above 30,400, 30,500, whatever this purple slightly descending trend line is at today. Appears to be right around 30,400. But you can see that that candle today so far is forming somewhat of, I'm going to just circle that, is forming somewhat of a, looks like it could end up being a shooting star, which is a bearish candle. And those of you, again, who have been following me for some time know that for me to consider this a bullish move, we need to have 2, maybe 3 candles closing above that 30,400 resistance. That is confirmation that the bulls are not coming back down to kiss mama goodbye. They're not going to do this expected neckline retest. All right, but I want to see consolidation up in this area before I really become a bull here and expect us to hit that $40,000 mark. I'm not bullish. I'm not gonna FOMO in on this. I am a trader and I look for trading opportunities. And when our RSI down here is getting overbought, and when we're into major resistance, I call this into because we have not confirmed yet that we are over. This is just one candle on the daily. That doesn't confirm anything to me. All right, so we are into resistance in overbought territory. Then I need to see those bulls consolidate here, kind of build a fortress above this resistance level. Until then, I'll just sit back and watch, and I'm happy to do that. I'm not going to FOMO into this. Not at all. All right, so BTC dominance is doing exactly as I expected as well, guys. We hit the top here at 49%, falling back, and this is giving the altcoins a chance to run, a little chance to run. But I think this run is going to be, if my pullback supposition is correct, is going to be short-lived. All right, so let's see what total 2 is telling us. And total 2, so I have a neckline. I have 2 necklines, actually. Both of these purple could be necklines on what looks to be an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Target there on the inverse head and shoulders, way up here at anywhere from 790 billion to 860 billion. Will we go there right away? Usually not, as I've already stated. Usually we'll go to a resistance area, hit that resistance area, and come back and retest our neckline. All right, so where would this pivot be? The first pivot I see is actually up here at 683 billion. So we do have a ways to run here for the altcoin market before we can expect a turn. But is this really a time to get in? It depends on how aggressive you are. I'm not going to be that aggressive. Look at our RSI, guys. Our RSI is already getting into overbought territory. And yeah, we're not there to resistance yet, but we could turn before we hit that resistance. The market could easily turn before it hits resistance. Of course, you guys know altcoins are mostly led by Ethereum. So let's take a look at Ethereum. And you can see here, overall, I have this inverse head and shoulders pattern that is playing out. We broke that neckline. You can see an arrow here I have pointed back. I'm expecting the same thing, a pullback, a retest of that neckline before we take off to our final inverse head and shoulders pattern target, which is up here between 22.5 and 24.5. All right, 2,225 to 2,450, somewhere in there is our inverse head and shoulders target. And you can see even more than that is this Adam and Eve pattern. That's a bigger macro pattern, which would give us a target even higher than that. All right, so what I don't know is, do we just continue to break these levels of resistance before we come back down and retest that neckline? Do we hit our inverse head and shoulders target straight up without kissing mama goodbye? Usually that doesn't happen. So I am still banking on a pullback. You can see I have a level or a trend line here, this red trend line that was just broken today. That coincides with the level of resistance, that 2048. Good area of confluence, but we just broke right through that and went to the next level, touched it precisely. And that's why you got to have these levels drawn out, guys. This is just amazing to see. But that level was 21,333. Let's see actually where our wick up on Ethereum hit. 21,031. And I have 21,033 as the level of resistance. So it's pretty amazing how precise these levels can be. Now, again, the question, as always, is will these bulls consolidate above the 2048 mark? Or is this just a quick blow off top before a pullback and a retest of this neckline down here at my red circle? That is the big question, and that's why I am in no hurry to jump in here, because I don't know the answer to that. All I can do is look at the charts and see that we are getting overbought on all of these charts, overextended. And when we get overextended, that is not a time you want to enter into trades. It's just not. So, you know, if you can't control your emotions, you will be entering here and you could be in trouble, guys. And you may make it big. All the more power to you if you do. It's just not ideal entry territory. All right, with the rest of the video, I want to just scroll through some of these altcoins that I have been checking quickly. Let's see if we can do this in 5 minutes. Doji has exceeded a level here. We need to watch this closely. Eventually, it will break out of this larger printed bullish triangle. And when it does, the sky is the limit. DOT I just added recently because it is doing some things. It broke the 50 and the 200. I'm going to go quickly here. I don't have any patterns drawn on Polkadot. XRP, all right. I told you before, I'm not in any hurry to enter this trade. Not yet, especially look at this candle, guys. This is a bearish candle, and I have our support areas drawn down here. I think this is starting to print, though, an M pattern, and I think we could come all the way back down here, actually, before we continue onwards and upwards. All right, where that's 42 cents. So at this point, that's what I'm going to wait for. I'm going to wait for anything below 48 cents. 48 cents to 42, then I might start dollar cost averaging in for a trade here. L2C is hot, 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 Litecoin. And we have come up into this pink resistance. And look at this candle, guys. Again, this is all suggesting we could pull back this week. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm saying this is just what the charts are suggesting to me. I am not jumping in. I'm not going to do that. Solana hit the resistance level that I printed a while ago precisely. Looks like this is going to play out. This was my anticipation of this move. Up to resistance, hit our heads on that, back down, retest this previous resistance, now support, before ascending to our target area. All right, that's what's happening on Solana. Looks like it's going to play out that way. Again, pullback in the cards. Algo has exceeded the 50-day moving average. I've been waiting for that. Again, look at this candle, guys. This is a bearish candle. All right. So suggesting we could come back down and retest quickly. We've run into resistance, retest that previous resistance before ascending. All right. All of these charts are showing me, watch out. All right. Don't get too quick on this market. Now, I could be wrong about all this. I make that disclaimer all the time. But we have not had areas of consolidation by the bulls proving to me that this is a bullish move. So far, all I'm seeing is blow off top. All right. Again, inverse head and shoulders pattern. This right here is the neckline. Looks like we've broken that, right? No confirmation. This is only one candle printed on the daily above. And look at the pattern of this candle. Looks bearish to me. I don't know that this move is going to be sustainable. All right. We could come back down below that neckline and print some more candles down in this area before we finally break above that and form, our bullish pattern, or have this inverse head and shoulders play out to our target of 63 cents. What's the time limit here? Okay, we got 19 minutes. I promised to do a Jasmy because I lured many people in way back when, and I still have followers that are following me on Jasmy coin. Right here, you can see we have a cup and handle pattern. All right, where is our neckline? These red trend lines here. Where is resistance going to be? These red trend lines. So if you are in or out or trading this, you can expect us to hit our heads on this and possibly pull back, just like everything else, to that 50-day, to that 200-day moving average before we break out of this cup and handle pattern and continue onwards and upwards. All right. I'm out of time here, guys, so I'm going to jump over to the closing screen. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, let me know in the comments. As always, feel free to pose any coins there you want me to analyze. Give me some feedback, and until the next video, peace, y'all.